What's up, people? Welcome to Across the Shelf. This is my new YouTube channel. I hope you guys will stick around and watch my videos, please. Greatly appreciate that. So today we're actually going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag, which I've seen going around booktube a lot, so I thought it would be a great idea to start with this. So I do have all the questions for the tag here, and I did already look up all the books so that I would be prepared. I think that's a good place to start. So far my Goodreads challenge, I think I set it for 50 books for the year. I'm like 35 books in. Hopefully I can get to 50, but you know, life happens, so it's not as easy to always be reading because, you know, work, which I'm not working now, but it's fine. More reading time for me. So the first question is, what was the best book of the year? For me, even though a lot of people are like, you know, it might not be the best one, it was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I'll just say Addie to make it easier, it was actually my first book dabbling into fantasy, and you know, the little slight elements of fantasy I really loved. She kind of is dealing with some midlife crisis type of thing where she has to get married to this dude that she really does not want to get married to. So she like prays to some dark god, and she's like, you know, get me out of this situation. And he's like, bet you want to live forever and have no one ever remember you. That's how he took it, and that's what she got stuck with. So I really enjoyed it. You know, I loved following her throughout the years and seeing how she couldn't really make a connection to anyone because, you know, once she left the room, or once they left the room or whatever, like, they wouldn't remember her at all. Okay, so the next one is the best sequel that you've read this year. I haven't really read that many series, but recently I read Network Effect by Martha Wells. It's the novel to the Murderbot Diaries. Murderbot is top tier, okay? It is chef's kiss, all right? It's the one. It's sci-fi. It's a robot that has like human feelings, and he's dealing with like anxiety and all that stuff, and it's like, wouldn't you want, as someone going through mental health issues, to read about a robot that goes through them and jokes about it? Because you know what, that's what I'm feeling. Another sequel that I really enjoyed, which don't drag me for, okay, but it was Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. It's part of the Grishaverse, and I read the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and then Crooked Kingdom, which was one of the best sequels this year, was actually the continuation to Six of Crows, which is a duology. So I really enjoyed it. It was like, you know, wrapping up the heist and all the characters, and I really enjoyed it. A new release that you haven't read but want to read. Okay, so I have read The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I'm probably butchering his last name, but you know, it is what it is. So he actually came out with a book called The Maidens, and it's also like a mystery thriller. I think it's about murder. I haven't really read so much into it, but it does have Greek mythology like mixed into it. And to be honest, I love Greek mythology, and I really enjoyed The Silent Patient and, you know, the twist at the end. So I'm excited to see what he does and how he mixes a Greek tragedy with a murder. My most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So give me some time, let me catch up with everything that I haven't read and is out already. I'm not really excited for any releases coming because I really need to read what's already out, and I'm super excited to, you know, catch up so then I can keep up with the cool kids. Let's talk about my biggest disappointment. Let's talk about it. So for a very long time, I really wanted to read Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. And, you know, I was excited because I was like, okay, I've read Shakespeare and I really enjoyed it. It would be super cool to read about his son, Hamnet. And, you know, I don't know that much about it. So, you know, I wait for a long time to get the book because it was expensive. But then I found it. And to be honest, the book was false advertisement because it starts with a little bit of Hamnet's story, but it goes in more to Shakespeare's wife. I wasn't too interested in it. They had like the wife painted as like this witchy character. And to be honest, I think that if you have to portray a woman character as like the only interesting thing about her is that she's witchy, sorry for the witchy, no, it's not for me. It was the biggest disappointment. I was actually so excited for it. Another disappointment was The Tattooist of Auschwitz. It was by Heather Morris. The writing was not what I expected. I'm really a big fan of historical fiction, especially when it recounts things like World War II, anything that has to do with concentration camps. I'm super interested in learning about. And the way that she wrote this book, no disrespect, but it was really disappointing. It felt very bland. With rechecking some facts on Google, trust the sources of course, I found that a lot of the facts didn't match up. Not so happy about that, and the writing just didn't do it for me, so that was another big disappointment for this year. Biggest surprise of this year. I've had some issues with classics in the past. Classics are a genre, okay? They're difficult to get into, and I think they're classified as a separate genre just because of the prose. I think the writing can be very difficult to get through. So my biggest surprise was Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, because I got through it very quickly. I loved it. The writing was amazing. The scenery, it was haunting. It felt really cool, and you know, maybe there's ghosts that are haunting me to this day because they love me. No, probably not, but it's fine. It was a big surprise. What can I say? Favorite new author or debut author? So authors that were new to me, not necessarily debut, were Martha Wells with the Murderbot series or Murderbot Diaries. It was also Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is the writer for The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And then last but certainly not least, it was Christine Hanna, which wrote The Nightingale, which talk about smelling the words on the page, seeing everything they were seeing. It was amazing, and I do hope to have a separate review for these books in the future so I can really go into more detail. Newest fictional crush. There is something about Kaz Brekker in Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom that it's like, you know what, you can murder me, I will murder someone for you, I will do it all. You know, there's something about the bad boy, you know, with a troubled past, someone send help. But it was like, I would do anything for that character, and the fan art for him, it does it for me. Hopefully I will also do a video how I feel about the Shadow and Bone adaptation on Netflix. So that's where I'll talk about that. Another fictional character that I fell in love with and is now one of my new crushes is Joshua Templeman from The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Oh, that man. What can I say about that man? I don't know. It was just his vibes. Can I say that? It was his vibes. It was his vibes. He can wear a different color shirt by day of the week and I will not be mad. I will iron those shirts for him. That is my newest fictional crush. My new favorite character overall, well, so far this year I should say, Murderbot. I love me some Murderbot. I will read anything that Martha Wells writes. She can write on a napkin. I will read it if it includes Murderbot. Matter of fact, it could include any other character. I love Murderbot. Books that made you cry is the next prompt. So many, because I'm emotional, sentimental. I'm a Pisces. For people that believe in the zodiac, which I really don't, but people say that that's what happens when you're a Pisces. Some of those books were A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, also The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, A Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and also, which is weird, but 84 Charing Cross Road by Helene Hanff. I feel like these books either spoke to me in a way, The writing transported me and made me feel the pain of the characters, especially with A Little Life, which was really tragic. I just feel like the characters stayed in my heart, and that till this day I still think about the characters and how they're doing as if they're real people. It really got to me and made me cry, made me tear up. A book that made me happy. It was Writers and Lovers by Lily King. There was a character in the book that had a goal and had a dream. There were so many things thrown at this character that you really didn't know what was going to become of them. And you know, in books, there's sometimes you think that at the end they always kind of make it, but you always have that what if. And when the character finally accomplished their goal and got what they wanted and worked so hard for, it just made me so happy. And the writing in that book, I feel like I say that about all the books. I mean, the writing in that book was beautiful, and I'm really excited to read more by the author. The most beautiful books that I have bought so far this year. I'm guilty because I bought this book solely based on the cover, and I don't think I'll read it, but since it's on my shelf, which is actually somewhere here, it's on my shelf, I have to read it, but I bought it for the cover. It's To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. Let's talk about the cover. It is beautiful. In person, the blue in the cover is kind of like iridescent. I don't even know how to explain it because it is just so beautiful. Will I read it? Probably not. But we're hoping, okay? And another one that I also bought for the cover, but also, you know, I was interested in reading from the author. It's Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I think it's going to be part of a series, and the second book is coming out soon. I believe at the end of this year or the beginning of next. And the last question for this mid-year freakout tag is the books that you hope to read before the end of the year. There's so many because, I mean, all my TBR, but for some reason there'll be new books that pop up and I'm just completely forgetting about my TBR. One specific book I truly need to read before the year ends is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. It's because I read Just the Nightingale by her and I loved it so much, and I really hope that The Four Winds can also give me the same feeling of smelling and seeing and just feeling everything from the words on the page. Okay, and that's it for today's video. I hope whoever watches it likes and comments. I'm open to discuss about the books. If there's anything you want to know or maybe videos that you want to see in the future from me, please make sure to let me know in the comments. Thank you. Bye-bye.